Yes, we're all stuck in the house. It's a snow day hoops. Things have changed. The NBA said, yeah, you guys are playing a little bit earlier than that 7 o'clock schedule. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers pregame show, originally scheduled for 6:30, but here we are, 2:30 on a Monday afternoon as Kyle has been calling it the snow apocalypse, sent us all to the house. We are presented by Bet365.
I don't know what you're talking about, Devon. You guys are just too lazy to come into the office.
I don't think my little car would make it through all the snow right now. We are presented by Bet365, whatever the moment's never ordinary, at Bet365, and we are here with you on the Xfinity mobile line from home. Kyle's in studio, Bree's at home as well. He's better than we are. Here we are as we get to our pregame picks a little bit later. We'll talk about Charles Bassey and the 10-day contract. We'll get Derek and Kyle's thoughts on that. How do you slow down the Hornets? We'll discuss that, of course, here this afternoon. And let's start off. Kyle, you made it to the studio, but it's a snow apocalypse where we originally had it when we signed off on Saturday, I think it was, and then we were talking to you post-game, and you were telling us what Nick Nurse and the Sixers were doing by leaving the arena, leaving that night, that afternoon, that evening to head to Charlotte to get ahead of the storm. And I remember saying to you, yeah, but they get there. How are they going to get back? And when are they going to get back for their back-to-back on Tuesday with the Milwaukee Bucks? Well, as it turns out, the NBA, the Atlanta Hawks, their game was moved up to 1:30. The Sixers-Hornets games moved up to 3 o'clock. And it appears that, yeah, let's play an earlier game so we can get those guys the heck out of there and get them back for their back-to-back.
Yeah, so all 7 people in Charlotte who decide they want to go through worse snow and ice, just like I did, because I'm just more committed to this company and our jobs than you two, says the guy who took 2 weeks off in the middle of December. Yeah, so it's an interesting one. You don't get many of these during the season. Like, I think MLK Day is probably the only weekday during the season where you historically get any kind of 1 p.m., 3 p.m. type of game. So we always talk about that. At least I always think about this as 3 p.m. games lead to some weirdness. The guys are just not in a routine to play around that time. Like, even if you think about their practice schedule, they tend to practice around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So midday, and then they're long out of there by 3 p.m. That's like nap time for them. Tyrese Maxey, in fact, recently said he specifically takes a nap at the time that he was announced as an NBA All-Star starter for the first time. And so regardless of the opponent, whether it's home, whether it's away, whoever's on the injury report, you just never know how guys will react to these. I think the good news for the Sixers is they just played one of these on Saturday. And so at least they are kind of in the rhythm of a 3 p.m. start. So we'll see if at all that impacts them today. I'm excited to see this one, though, because this will largely be about the backcourt and about the young guys against a Charlotte team. Devon, I think you alluded to it a little bit, that has been playing better and has been playing a more competitive brand of basketball even when they've been losing.
Yeah, Derek, how do you feel about this one? As Kyle said, a weird one. At least with the MLK games, they're scheduled for those times where this one got moved to this 3 o'clock start time.
How do I feel? I feel like I need a new back. I did about 4 hours of shoveling today. I'm just not done. I'm done. Too old for this stuff. No, I mean, they are certainly playing better basketball. Like, they can certainly get up and down the court. The Hornets can. They have won, I think, 4 of their last 6, 5 of their last 8. Offensively, they're a pretty good offensive squad. They're capable, and they can certainly be dangerous on any given night. Defensively, they're still kind of a mess, and the Sixers should have a chance. Like, look, I understand you're playing without 2 big guns. We don't want to spoil the starting lineup here, but you're going to miss, about $110 million out of that starting lineup. So they are going to have some stuff to overcome. But you still got Maxey, you still got VJ, and you still got a really good chance because this is a team that will give up some points.
Yeah, man. And looking at this one, as we kind of talk about being stuck in the house, I need a new back also. Heating pad has been my friend since yesterday, and the ice didn't help it today. But that said, as Kyle, you mentioned it, I was thinking the immediate thing I started to really focus on was how weird these things can get because of players being creatures of habit. with how they like to do their routine stuff. I mean, heck, for us, you like to do certain things before games. Derek likes to do certain things. The same thing for Bree. We all have our routines that we go through.
Derek and I mostly like to eat ice cream in the media room. That's our pregame routine. It's a little soft serve with some toppings, maybe a little beverage.
While picking on Austin Krell, yep.
Can't do that today. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how things go for that one. But yeah, that's where I went. Number one, thinking about the backcourt. This is going to be similar to when we've seen, not getting into the starting lineup yet, but I'll be focused. I think we'll all be focusing on the guards and what they will do today, and trying to bring this one home, bringing them back to Philadelphia with the win, going against backcourt.
Kyle's PHLY studio glitch.
I teleported. What happened? I just couldn't look at the clipping anymore.
Yeah, just simply bringing back a win from Charlotte, having to be there for a few days, stuck in the hotel, can't do anything, can't go out. And how are they going to be when they get to the arena? And Kyle, you even talked about it not being that far. I wondered, did they walk to the arena? Did the security just escort them across the street to the arena? Did they stay there to have to avoid any kind of other travel for this basketball team? But the guards are really where I start with those guys and how it's going to look. VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey going against Kon Knueppel and LaMelo Ball, and how they match up with them, because we know, as Derek pointed out, they can get up and down the floor, but defensively they're not all that great. So those two, going back to, let's just even say the Knicks game, where it was those two in the Garden for that first basketball game in New York, where they just starved. And we saw some really good stuff from them, getting 30 and 20 from the two of them. Is that we're going to see today? Really good two-way play from those guys, and having the bulk of the points go there. I'll even also add, because of that, Kelly Oubre. He had a lower scoring game than we're used to seeing as of late against the Knicks the other day. Does that pick up this afternoon against the Charlotte Hornets, where he has more of a runway, more of an opportunity with some chances to score, and he's aggressive early and getting his, and also continuing that from behind the three-point line? So I would say those three in particular are where I begin of how they go against this Hornets team this afternoon.
Yeah, and Devon, you talked about a little bit like they want to run, but I think just in general, the Hornets are also a much better offensive team than I think the average observer might realize. I think they're up somewhere near 6th or 7th in the league in offense this year. And that's what allows them to remain competitive, despite the fact that they're a bottom 10 defense. And it's not surprising that they're a bottom 10 defense. LaMelo's effort there comes and goes, effort and awareness, we'll say. Kon Knueppel, although he competes, has some matchup limitations. Brandon Miller's been out of the lineup for a while, has only recently gotten back into the flow of things. But then you think about those guys on the other end of the floor. Like, Miller's a guy who can score at all three levels. Kon Knueppel has been one of the most dangerous rookie shooters in NBA history. Like, that's not an exaggeration. If you look at the volume and the efficiency, he's right up there. And then LaMelo, for whatever his downsides are, and we've talked about them in the past, he is we'll call him a chaotic player, I think is a nice way to think about, or to talk about it. He's super talented. Like, the passing vision is extraordinary compared to most guys in the league. He's someone who, when he gets rolling, can really hurt you on all three levels. And then if you bend the defense and you try to trap him or you try to shade at him, he can throw the skip pass to the opposite corner. He's a creative interior passer. He's going to set guys up. And then you add on top of that, they want to run and they want to push the pace. That puts stress on your transition defense as well. So that's without getting to some of their other, interesting young players who have joined the rotation and have become stalwarts already. They had a really, really good draft this year, I think, for establishing kind of the floor of the program as they try to get better in terms of the ceiling. But it's not a team that's going to give you an easy victory, even if they had walked in here with the full cast, with Joel, with PG, with everybody. So pressure is on Tyrese and VJ today to go out there and be the best two guys on the floor, at least two of the top three guys on the floor.
Yeah. No, and it really is, the pressure on VJ and Tyrese is absolutely true. Because they are, with Paul and Joel out, with the a Charlotte team that will give up points and doesn't have a lot in terms of perimeter defense. They have a chance to have big nights, and they pretty much need them to have big nights. We'll throw Kelly Oubre into that mix as well, because with the absences, he will have a much higher workload. So I'm interested to see. And also, just like this is a Charlotte team that will also turn the ball over, and that will allow the Sixers to get out on the break. So having some semblance of a transition game will be big as well.
All right, let's take our first pause of the show, our only pause on the pregame. We come back, we'll talk a little bit about slowing down a little bit more, but I also want to talk to you both and everybody in the chat, and Bree, of course, of the bench. The bench was not helpful against the Knicks. A 3-point loss, and the bench was outscored big time against the New York Knicks. That was really highlighted by Landry Shamet, a few points from, as we know, McBride and Mitchell Robinson, and that one as well. But the Sixers really only put up about 15 points, I believe it was, in that one. So I would have to go back, but I think I had it for that one. But let's talk about the bench a little bit there, too, how they can help, because the Sixers are going to need everything, and that includes Quentin Grimes as a potential bench scorer. Trendon Watford has not played all that great, but did have spurts against the New York Knicks where he looked a little bit better. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Charles Bassey and the 10-day contract, what that meant, because there was also some travel issues with him getting to town for the Philadelphia 76ers. It's the PHLY Sixers pregame show. Stuck in snowpocalypse. Even Kyle teleported from the studio back home because it was too cold and the roads were icy. He had to get back. And now he's back.
Back in the studio.
Now he's back. So we'll do all that when we get back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by Bet365.
And guys, we want to tell you about Xfinity, specifically their 5-year price guarantee. Because what if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense, and that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. There are no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the same, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
And we're back here for me discuss Bet365 and whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. I would have bet that Kyle would have teleported again at Bet365 with the odds being minus 220 because of
it's almost as good as teleporting the odds at Bet365.
Absolutely. And with your basketball game today, stuck in the house, maybe you are just working from home and you're going to watch the basketball game and you're saying, how do I get prepared? Well, you do so at Bet365 is one of the 90 million users worldwide and 780,000 events each year live stream there on the app. Early payouts in the NBA and the NHL. So if you feel like your Philadelphia team is going to blow out Charlotte, 20-point lead at some point, you get an early payout there. All right, new customers, if you want to jump on in, guess what? You can do so by getting there, and you get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up. Win or lose, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and when you use that code PHLY365, you're in. And again, you don't even have to win. You can lose this one and still get that $200 credited to your account. The bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. You or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Also use your 30% profit boost today as well on these basketball games. All right, Derek, just getting into the Oubre piece, but also the bench needing to be a factor in this one, specifically Quentin Grimes coming in and helping out and putting some points on the board. He's been in a bit of a slump here, hasn't really been able to get anything going. They need his points this afternoon.
No, he has not been in a little bit of a slump. He's been in a huge slump. It's been a long time since you've gotten a really good game from Quentin. And when you have Quentin Grimes and Jared McCain and Justin Edwards, and quite frankly, at this point, Andre Drummond's disappointing too. Adembona is very inconsistent. When you have all of them having down years at the same time, it's pretty tough. And even though we look at a lot of things, and I think we're all generally optimistic, about Joel and the progress he's made over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. Paul George, he's not certainly the $50 million man, but he's found ways to contribute more often than not. Tyrese has taken a huge step. Oubre is coming back, and when he's on the floor with Joel, he's making his threes. A lot is good is happening in that starting five, and then like almost everyone on the bench to a T is disappointing you, and pretty much nobody more than Quinn. I mean, this was a guy that we were all pretty big fans of in the offseason, that we're all pretty supportive of giving a significant contract to, not the contract he wanted, but a significant contract to. And over the last 12 games, he's shooting 42% from the field, 28% from three-point range, and his decision-making is an absolute disaster. And outside of that, Miss Lincoln, like, it's just his entire game right now is, and even his defense, I do think more or less he's a capable defender, but it fluctuates a little bit with both his role and his effectiveness. He's just got to play better, and there's probably no team there, no situation that you need him more than now when you have so much out of your lineup.
And I think part of the reason they've been so inconsistent lately, where we're up, we're down, they beat the Rockets, and then they have the disappointing Knicks loss. They had the stretch at home where they just felt like they couldn't win a game there for a bit, is in part because of Quentin Grimes. He's a guy that tied together a lot of those lineups early in the season. Like when you dug into the lineup combinations and the on-offs, like Quentin's presence in a lot of cases was boosting lineups, even when it was, Maxey and VJ, Maxey and Embiid. Like Quentin was a legitimate value add in a lot of those groups. And now that he's not shooting well, and I think the defense has tailed off along with that, that has brought down a lot of these lineup combinations. And I would also add on this. I know we've talked to death the Jared McCain subject, and boy, he's been terrible and blah, blah, blah. But to me, this is a 2-game block here where you have to find time for it. I think especially in light of how bad Grimes has been. And Derek was talking about this in the Discord earlier. He was absolutely right to say this. Bad Quentin has still been better than the bad version of McCain they've gotten. And so I understand why Nurse is still saying, I'm rolling with Quentin. He gives us a better chance to win right now. Like, I think that's a logical thing to believe and to play that out. But I think against a Charlotte team that's a poor defensive team, and in a situation where you're down bodies, this is an opportunity for Jared to have a get-right game. Not even like I've given up the whole, hey, he's going to come in and hit 5 threes type of game. You give me like a 2 of 4 from 3, a couple assists, like a normal game, and I'd be over the moon. And I think right now with where Quentin is at, you can easily justify hey, Quentin's got to take a seat or at least play less for the next couple of games, 3 games, whatever it might be. Give Jared a shot here. So that's how I look at it. I don't think that's how the coaching staff will look at it based on how things have gone recently, but I do think it's an opportunity potentially to get Jared on the floor.
Wanted to go back to December 28th and the 6-game stretch leading up to Washington where the Sixers won at home. In that stretch, the 6 games, Quentin Grimes scored in double figures, 13, 11, 19, 10, 16, and 16. Since then, there have been 9 games that the Sixers have played. He has scored in double figures 3 times, and only 1 game right above there, or sitting at 8 points in the other games, the other 6 games that they've had and he has played in. So as Derek lays out those numbers and Kyle talks about it, the struggle has been real. He's averaging 10 points in the month of January, but everybody, if you remember on the season, he is averaging 13.3. And at one point he was averaging right around 15 or so, because that's how well he was playing. Even looking at December overall, he was averaging 17 points in the month of December. So that's where the dip has gone for him. He may have hit a few big shots here, despite the fact that he's gotten into double figures. But we were talking about him as being a 6th man of the year type of candidate because of the way that he was playing. And that production has dipped off dramatically for this basketball team, and they desperately need him back today. But if he's not going to take that opportunity and run with it, which he has had, and still playing big minutes, by the way, 19, 27, 20, he's averaging 27 minutes in the month of January, and the production scoring-wise hasn't been there, and defensively, as you pointed out. That's where Jared McCain's opportunity jumps in there. But also Quentin Grimes, Trendon Watford, Kyle, has gotten more consistent run now over the last 2-3 games, and partly because Jared McCain has been out of the rotation, but trying to ease him back into it. So as we say, Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes, Trendon Watford is also a player that they could use some help from.
Yeah, and Trendon gives them a different dimension than the Barlows and the Walkers, where they're competing for a lot of the same minutes, but Trendon is more of a grab-and-go threat in transition, somebody who in the half court, you can involve them in more of the dribble handoffs and ask him to create a little bit. Now, are they doing that at high volume? No, and a lot of his minutes have come with Joel Embiid, or even with, if they're playing a couple of the guards, then it becomes more of the can you hit shots or beat somebody off a closeout. But yeah, I think there have been a lot of reasons that Jared has gotten squeezed. And we've been very clear. I think he has deserved to get squeezed for minutes. He has not been good enough this year. He has not been good in basically any measurable way, but especially in the most important way, which is shooting. Like, this team is desperate for a bit of shooting off the bench in particular. And he's the guy that should be offering that and hasn't. So anytime I sit here and say, like, I hope that we see some Jared McCain, it's not based on anything we've actually seen this year. It's based on the fact that he should be a relatively important cog on this bench, and they should be trying to develop him. But it's also a team that's got some pressure to win now. So it's not an easy thing to have to navigate here. And so with Nick, the decision so far has been, let's try to let Quentin play through this funk and get back to where he was early in the year. And I can't say that that's like some insane decision. Like, he played well enough early in the year to deserve some grace from the coaching staff.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, over the first 19 games of the season, he was averaging 17, 4, and 4 and shooting like 45% from the field and 37% from three. He was giving you quality minutes. Might not be 25 million a year minutes, Quentin, but quality minutes and a really big part of the rotation, and really big in the fourth quarter in close games. Like, he hit a lot of really big shots. He hasn't hit a big shot in, it feels like, 2 months. They need to get him back.
Yeah, hopefully he gets some time and he can get loose a little bit today against the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets, who have won, Kyle, since they were your preseason team for maybe a little bit better, a surprise team in the East. They've won their last two. They've been going back and forth, win-loss over the last month or so. Playing some fun brand of basketball. They're a fun watch from afar, especially with Kon Knueppel. We already know about LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, but Kon Knueppel we've been talking about a bunch because of the rookie watch and how good this class is. But they have been competitive. They've won their last two, and they beat the Magic in Orlando. In their last game, they beat the Wizards by 4. Our guy Trey went off, but the Wizards lost that basketball game. That's it. Just a different. They have a different type of team now, as we've talked about, and they are sneaky competitive. They don't give up, and they make you fight. What are you looking for? As we talked a little bit about slowing them down, but how to attack them and how to get the better of them this afternoon?
Well, number one, I need good Maxey today. It starts with that, right? And I think if I had to guess, they're going to throw some extra help in Maxey's direction. And so then the focus probably turns to VJ Edgecombe. And I think what we saw, we haven't seen a lot of shorthanded games recently. Normally they've had at least one of Joel or Paul available, if not both. But we saw in that Phoenix game last week, when the deck is cleared a little bit and he's got a runway to get touches and get into a rhythm early, he's been a lot more aggressive about hunting his shot. So I think that's going to be a big key today is, can you get VJ into this game early as a scorer? Obviously, the big thing today for him is he doesn't have Joel Embiid as a ball screen partner. And I think those two have had a lot of growth in the chemistry department lately. So how does he navigate that with Andre Drummond, who is not really a up-top threat for him? He is a big body as a screener, but as much as we joked about Stretch Drummond, not a pick-and-pop guy, I want him turning to. But also, I do think VJ, he downplays it when we talk to him about it in public, but I think when he sees these other guys in his class, we've seen time and time again that he gets up for these games. So I want to see him take it at Kon Knueppel. And the other thing, too, that's been a up and down problem for him, although he hasn't fouled out of these games, he has dealt with some early foul trouble in some of these games. And that's going to be a key today, is just avoiding that. right? He will probably draw the LaMelo Ball assignment for a good chunk of the early part of the game. What happens there? Can you keep discipline? Can you stay out of foul trouble to give yourself a chance on offense? I think that's going to be a big key for him, certainly.
Yeah, VJ likes to say some things that sound right on press conferences, and I don't believe that he believes them at all. He told us earlier in the season that he doesn't care about trying to get a post or dunk. He just wants to get 2 points. And then he tried to dunk over the entire Houston team with 40 seconds left in overtime the other night. And it's like, my guy, you do care about the post or dunk, and that's fine. But him saying he doesn't, care.
And I don't begrudge him for that. He should.
No, I just don't always believe what he says at the podium is all I'm saying. Him saying that he doesn't care about getting up for these games against Kon Knueppel, I don't believe that at all. I think he's going to be ready to go. Hopefully he channels that in a good way.
Yeah. Maybe get up between 15, 20 shots to this afternoon and double figure scoring, of course, good two-way play. And that's expected from him. Derek, the Charles Bassey 10-day contract, you put that out there yesterday. As everyone was shoveling, you took a break and let everybody know about the 10-day addition to Charles Bassey. What does this mean for the roster with the 10-day and the two-way guys that the Sixers have, of course, in Barlow and Walker?
Yeah. Look, maybe we'll get a chance to see Bassey at some point over these 10 days. Maybe they give him a second 10-day and we get a real chance to look at him, because that second 10-day would come after the trade deadline when a big could be moved. But I think the primary reason this happened is the Sixers. So there's two limits on players on 10-day contract or two-way contracts. You can play them or have them active for a maximum of 50 games each individually, and then you can have them active for a combined total of 90 games when you have fewer than 15 players on NBA rosters. And the Sixers were right at that 90-game limit. So basically, you couldn't play Walker or Barlow anymore if you didn't sign somebody to a 15th roster spot. By signing Charles Bassey to a 10-day contract, you can still play Barlow and Walker. Is, I think, the primary reason that the signing happened, and the primary reason that the signing happened when it did. So he's not active today. We'll see whether or not, how much he plays during this 10-day contract. I would hope that they will bring him back for a second 10-day contract. So you get a chance to really evaluate him. But the key, I think, is that you get a chance to see Dominic Barlow, and they don't have to convert him to an NBA contract yet, because I think they're going to wait until after the trade deadline to do that. So that's the reasoning for it.
Feels very much like they are just trying to buy themselves some time until the deadline, and then we will see exactly what they want to do or can do in the front court, because I think there's a lot of smoke out there that they might be trying to move Drummond. That's just logically, we've talked about that for the tax reasons on the show. Quack quack over there, Derek. So
I need to duck on my soundboard. I'm gonna get a quack on my soundboard. That's
so happen. I'm not expecting Bassey to play. He could play at some point during this 10-day, but yeah, Derek's on it. So we'll see how this all shakes out after the deadline passes.
All right, let's get to the starting lineup for the Sixers, because the guys have mentioned it, and there are two open spots that are going to be filled by Dominic Barlow back in the starting lineup, along with Andre Drummond to fill out the front court with Kelly Oubre in the back court, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. No surprise there. So, guys, no surprise at all with that starting five. And for the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Kon Knueppel, Miles Bridges, and Moussa Diabate. That's going to be fun to watch those guys on the boards with Drummond and Diabate, because Diabate will probably end up like 5 offensive rebounds because of his activity, 17 boards overall because of what he does. Two different types of centers, body type and all, and the age gap and everything, just the energy that Diabate always brings. That's going to be an interesting one to watch overall. All right. Let's get to the Bet365 picks presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Mine hit pretty quick. The first one, second leg, didn't happen because Deuce McBride, did not hit his second three-pointer. So let's see what we have here. Yeah, starting with Bree. I know I was thinking about Kyle when I put that bet in, because he turns into Vinny Johnson, Microwave Johnson, hitting everything. Bree's picks: Kelly Oubre 15+ and Kon Knueppel 2.5 threes. I love it. We are same mindset here on the Kon Knueppel part, because I had him at 3+ threes, along with VJ Edgecombe hitting over 15+. Bree's at +165, mine at +140. If you like to just combine those and make that a three-legger and get the 30% profit boost, do so at Bet365 using code PHLY365. And again, new customers, $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you deposit 10, place a bet for 5 at Bet365. Good luck tailing us, adding to your own legs there on the parlay. We appreciate you hanging out with us on this snow day where you're all stuck in the house and you don't have anything else that you're tired of shoveling. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back 10 minutes after the game goes final. Sixers-Hornets, no Embiid, no George. Do the VJ Max tandem, do they lead this team to a victory? And how many threes will Andre Drummond make? Is the sniper back? Is he back? The three-point shooter back for the Philadelphia 76ers, as Kyle has now teleported back to the studio.
I'm back in the studio. I'm ready for the game, guys.
Ready for the game. All right. Well, for Bree, Derek, and Kyle, we'll see you after the game. We're presented by Bet365. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hang out with us again, maybe somewhere around, we'll say 5:30, as we get to talking about this basketball team and a win on the front end of a back-to-back. Enjoy the game, everybody.